Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel 100 Ideas. Wood, one of the most common natural materials used in the manufacture of handicrafts, decor items. Products may vary in complexity, price and purpose, but they all have one thing in common. They are not only beautiful but also environmentally friendly. Handicrafts made of wood with their own hands give their room special value and originality. Below we have collected some great ideas. The structure of this natural material is hard and durable. Most wood items can only be made with a set of carpentry tools, which is usually used by men. Working with them involves the application of certain physical efforts. Women can also make light wooden crafts using simpler tools. The set of carpentry tools that men use when working with wood includes a hawk saw, electric jigsaw, in some cases a circular saw, as well as grinders, a drill, a chisel. Women prefer to work with more elegant tools. Many will be surprised, but in order to make most of the decor items out of wood, an ordinary secateurs, a barbell for wire, a glue gun and a small handful of decorative elements, beads, rhinestones, twine, etc. are enough. If the hobby has firmly entered your life, you can replenish the supply of better on every walk. The material is lying underfoot in the truest sense of the word. The appearance of the share depends on the quality of the prepared video. Color, appearance, absence of visual defects, and damages are important. The main thing to pay attention to: lack of resin. For some crafts, good flexibility of video or twigs is important. Parts of a tree spoiled by plant pests. Discard, they do not fit. In order to keep the area ecological and not harm the trees, it is better to collect fallen branches or use branches after pruning the trees. Before being sent for storage, the blanks should be dried for 12 to 14 days in a dry ventilated room, after which neatly folded into cardboard boxes. If the wood is very dry, it can be lightly sprinkled with warm water before starting work. The design of the infield is a creative work that allows you to enjoy both the decorating process and the result obtained. Even if there is a small space next to the house, it can be harmoniously decorated, made a bright accent and its own property. If you combine plants and design elements correctly, you will be able to get a beautiful space. Before arranging a beautiful and elegant courtyard, several important factors should be taken into account. The size of the plot. This is the main point before choosing a design. It will be unrealistic to reproduce certain compositions in small gardens and vice versa. Miniature flower beds can get lost in large-scale territories. Time costs. Based on what period the owner plans to take care of plants, the choice of the type and number of flowers depends. You should also understand how much time you have to make design decisions. Material expenses. To create a beautiful courtyard in front of the house, it is necessary to allocate certain financial resources for the purchase of flowers, supplies for decoration. Perhaps you choose an option in which you can decorate the plot in front of the house only from improvised means and with your own hands. Seasonality. When living in a house all year round, you need to understand that the design should be designed so that the courtyard looks beautiful both in summer and in winter. When choosing garden crops, it is important to take into account the amount of light on the territory. For the southern and northern sides, it will be necessary to select different garden crops to provide them with comfortable conditions for growing. In fact, there are quite a lot of ideas for decorating the territory in front of the house. The main thing is to determine your own capabilities, desires, and the general concept of the design of the site. But the following are considered bright solutions that will allow you to make certain accents on the territory. Formation of a gravel path. A stylish approach to the house will be an original garden path made of gravel of fine fraction. It can be framed with a mixture of containers of different perimeters and shapes. By planting bright and unusual flowers there, you can create an interesting atmosphere on the site. But before you beautifully decorate the front garden with flowers, do not forget about the palette of shades and the endurance of cultures. Framing the path with roses. If you want to get a picturesque house in a rustic style, use rose bushes as a decoration of the path to the house or driveway. And by creating incredible miniature white gates with pickets, it will be possible to add sets to any courtyard. Formal lawn. Trends in horticultural art are such that with the help of an ordinary lawn, you can emphasize the original landscape design next to the house. Lawn grass with short edges and a bordered path is considered a traditional symbol of English gardens. Use of flower pots. The variety of garden plants with their bright colors allows you to dilute even the most boring courtyard. By placing containers with flowers on a gravel platform, it will be possible to get a boring design. Just do not try to arrange everything under the ruler. Give preference to chaotic and unstructured solutions. An interesting solution to how to decorate the front garden with stones will be the use of gravel pebbles. By placing a gravel patio, adding pansies or lavender to them, you can get an incredibly picturesque picture. When choosing an inexpensive version of the front yard, you can use a picket fence for fencing the side, which is painted in a noble white or a funny playful bright color. Think over a combination of shades of vegetation and the fence so that variegated colors do not interfere with perceiving the overall composition as complete. White and yellow, red and blue, and other combinations can be called classic. Dark shades are practically not used. The height of the fence can be different, but it is foundationally important that it does not create too much shadow. Most plants like to arrive in the shade no more than 3 or 4 hours a day. Near the fences, the planting density is moderated. If several plant lines are supported to be planted, then they are selected in height to make a beautiful cascading cascade. Completely leveling the presence of any fences on the front side of the house, you need to adhere to the height requirements of single plants so as not to divide the space into parts with them. The growth of trees and shrubs both in breadth and upward is taken into account. Trees are usually chosen stamped. With them, it is easier to create not only topiary but also simply well-grown flower beds. The decoration of the plot is one of the factors of its arrangement, but often homemade decorations look too primitive and spoil the whole landscape. If the owner is not sure about the aesthetic appeal of the product, it is better to abandon it and use ready-made options, such as gnomes, artificial crafts in front garden in the form of animals. The design of the front yard of the house assumes a clear plan of action. To begin with, it is recommended to create a paper version with the application of buildings, existing vegetation, calculations of the distance from the house to the road and the territory of neighbors. Then the style and vegetations are selected. It is also indicated on the plan, taking into account the maximum growth in height and 2-3 years of growth for perennial in one place. Dilemma's decision on how to beautifully decorate the front yard with your own hands largely depends on the choice of vegetation. For example, a rose garden with a selection of varieties and species that bloom permanently from spring to autumn can also surprise. The optimal solution for houses that are almost right next to the road is the use of climbing plants covering the wall of the building, or flower pots. They can also decorate the paths to the house. Such portable green areas are suitable for those areas that are in unfavorable areas for year-round flower cultivation. The desire to save time on the care of the front yard or the desire for minimalism contributes to the arrangement of lawns. You can place one or more ornamental trees, conifers or flower beds on them, which will become the accents of the site. To create a complete picture, take into account the harmony of lines and shapes of the entire site and its buildings. It can be clear, rectangular, multicolored lawns or smooth romantic lines with the planting of exclusively green spaces. Even the simplest areas look charming, the entrance to which is decorated with arcs with flowers and greenery. But you need to pay attention to the fact that vegetation and decor should not merge in the color aspect with the general plan of the building. Using your imagination, you can implement the most daring decisions even if there is a small territory. And the abundance of space allows you to create zoning with the use of various decorative elements. Such a front garden with their own hands in front of the house will be the pride of the owners, admiring and delighting the eye. hope this video was useful to you. Like it, write your comments and subscribe to our channel.